Hello everyone and welcome to TMNT, of course based on the 2007 movie of the same name. I'm going to be showing off the levels that I think best represent the game's mechanics.
The medallion grants the peaceful mind power over certain barriers. Approach the barrier and dodge. You will move through it. I was very proud of you for finding the medallion, Leonardo.
Thank you, Master. But that wasn't the end of the story.
I know. Tell me again what happened next.
Well, the temple started to self-destruct, of course. And the usual ancient temple booby traps.
You did well, Leonardo.
I've been well trained, Master.
So yeah, the characters in this game talk a lot, and the platforming in this game is a mix of more traditional platforming and Prince of Persia inspired platforming, which is actually pretty fun.
They dressed like soldiers, but they acted like criminals.
The combat in this game is a 2-button system, but it's not the heavy and light attack combat system you're probably used to. We only have one button for primary attacks, which of course we can chain into a combo, and we have a secondary button to knock enemies down. We can also shift around enemy attacks like you just saw if we press the block button at the right time. We can also hold in the attack button, which allows us to charge up and zip around to hit enemies. It can be useful if you just want to pick away at the enemy's health bit by bit, or if you want to finish off a lot of weak enemies at once.
Whatever it is, he fights like a demon.
The enemies are very slow compared to you and very easy to predict, so the combat isn't exactly hard, but it's not necessarily about the difficulty. It's rather about how well you do. Because everything you do in this game you get a score for.
The medallion had mystical power. I could use it to move through certain solid objects.
Yeah, I think we covered that. Right here you can much more easily see what I mean by Prince of Persia inspired platforming. So as I was saying, the game is not really hard in any sense, it's meant to be easy to access for all audiences. So much so that you're never really in danger of dying or failing, and there are very frequent checkpoints. The game design compensates for this with its scoring system, which gives you a grade based on how fast you go through a stage, how little you get hit, and how well you cooperate with your brothers. So while completing the main story is very easy and something anybody could do with enough time, if you want to challenge yourself, that's what the scoring system is there for. Because they actually designed a pretty fun platforming system. And the game is essentially built for speedrunning, it's just that you don't ever have to make use of that when you're playing the game. So this isn't a game where you would try to avoid dying, so much as a game where you would try to avoid getting hit, period.
You guys must be the ones responsible for the mines.
You might have noticed earlier that we got a star added to the top of the screen each time we took out an enemy, and that's because after we take out 10, we enter a rage mode. And as you're about to see right here, in rage mode we take out every enemy with a single hit. This combined with our charge attack makes speedrunning the combat sections very easy. However, our stars deplete if we get hit, so it's about being skilled enough to get the rage mode, but when you do, you're set for the rest of the fight.
Improve your fighting skills.
Oh, I did forget to mention that you are also graded on whether you pick up all of the coins in the stage, but they're fairly hard to miss. This is some of the more traditional platforming the game has to offer, but it's still much more speedy than, you know, normal 3D platforming would be.
Everything was so beautiful there.
Yes, I remember.
You remember?
My son, who do you think hid that medallion in the first place?
They actually bring up that he came here in a previous dialogue, so I'm not sure why they forgot.
Once again, I had a choice between choosing to fight or to avoid my enemies.
As Leo just said, this is the only stage in the game where we can actively choose to avoid combat by platforming over our enemies, and the platforming is much faster and more fun, so we're gonna do that. This is easily the stage with the most even split of combat and platforming, so that's why I chose it to represent the game. Otherwise, it generally reminds of Prince of Persia, in which there are also long sections of platforming that are broken up occasionally by some fighting. Platforming seems to have been the main focus of this game. The combat is well designed and it's fun, but it couldn't hold up a game by itself.
Yeah! There were many routes through the village. The most important thing was speed.
That being said, as satisfying as the platforming is, what you're seeing right here is about all there is to it. There are challenge maps which are significantly harder, but as for the main game, this is about it.
No, there's got to be a way over that. Get away from there. Now!
Save us!
Don't let them hurt us! Somebody help!
Please!
When I play this game, I really get the impression that the devs wanted to make it harder. It's pretty enjoyable as it is, but if you play the challenge maps, you can see they had a lot more ideas for the design than what you see in the main story. The lack of inherent difficulty could be the reason for this game's mediocre reception, but as I said, the challenge is there, you just have to look for it.
No pain, no gain. And then it was over. And I heard people in the church giving me the name.
It is the ghost of the jungle!
Oh! Viva the ghost of the jungle! Viva the ghost of the jungle! Viva the ghost of the jungle!
So you can see we get an overall grade based on how well we did with the individual elements of the stage. Hold on, we're not quite done here. We only covered the basics.
According to the blueprints I saw, we can use the subway's main line to reach Winter's underground parking. Says Techhead.
All right, turtles, let's stay sharp. With those monsters loose in the city, who knows what we'll find?
Monsters? What monsters?
So family is important in the game just as it is in the film, and we have to earn their trust before we can use them in combat. Each time we successfully perform acrobatics or take out an enemy, we gain a little bit more
Let's
trust.
get up there and find our way in.
Mikey trusts us the easiest, followed by Donatello, and then of course the last one to trust us is Raphael.
Now we have to find the way that leads to Winter's basement. This is a job for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeesh, Mikey. This ain't a cartoon.
So you figure you have to work for them, so there must be some reason to use them, right? Well, just as in the film, the idea is that cooperation makes everything easier. Each turtle has their own unique special attack that they can use with the help of one of their brothers. It takes time to use, and if an enemy hits you while you use it, it breaks the trust. However, performing the move successfully will greatly increase your bond. This isn't just thematic stuff I'm talking about, these are the game mechanics. Each turtle also has a fighting style tailored to their personality. For example, Mikey is the fastest and has the longest and craziest combos, but he deals the least damage. So I love when games try to tie narrative themes directly into the gameplay, and this game does that, which I'm pretty happy for. All the mechanics on their own aren't really anything special to speak of, but when they're used together and tied so well into the overall story, well, the flaws can be forgiven. After all, it isn't often that the bond between family members is an actual mechanic used in game design.
Whoa, dude, what's that sound? It sounds like the ground is shaking! Whoa!
If only the dialogue were as good as it was in the actual film.
Hey, shut this place down.
As you're seeing right here, the brothers can also help each other platform, which operates on similar rules to the combat.
Very cool.
In that, if we fail to platform with them, we lose our trust.
Whoa, look at that, guys. The old sewer system.
Dude, you've seen one sewer, you've seen them all.
Better be careful, guys.
So this game as a whole is pretty fun. While it does suffer from an inherent lack of difficulty and the dialogue is nowhere near as good as it is in the actual film, when taken all together, the game design is much greater than the sum of its parts. Which I would say is only fitting. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.